Al,
Mm-hmm.
visual novels. They're
Yeah,
big.
I usually like them.
They're a big property in the current gaming space nowadays. There's a lot of them out there. And it's not just Japan making them.
That is true.
There's a lot of more Western focused visual novels happening. Visual novels are everywhere. Right now, a visual novel is probably living in your neighborhood.
What are you gonna do? Protect your children
It's more likely than you think.
is more likely than you think.
We're going to talk about one today.
Yep, sure are.
Here on episode 151 of the Seasonal Anime Checkup OVA. It's a podcast where we have conversations about video games, anime, manga. Hello! I'm Jared, joined as always by the Queen of Otome, Doc Al and Ladium.
Hello.
We have an Otome, I guess, for you.
Yeah, I mean it's technically an Atome.
It's a borderline case. I guess it counts.
I'm gonna say it counts.
I mean, I guess technically you could go either way with the protagonist, so
Yeah,
it's a dating sim slash Otome.
yeah.
So whichever you prefer, but we're gonna throw it in the Otome bin because sure,
Why not?
why not? And plus, it gives us a chance to rank it later
Mm-hmm.
in the episode. But we played a game that you have been interested in for a while, or at least
Mm-hmm.
interested in checking out. There was a time where the idea for this was to do a live audio playthrough of it, but I don't know if that would have actually worked as well because you can't really sync that up with the gameplay.
Yeah, no, I don't
That would have
think it
been a
would have
little
worked.
tough.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we played the KFC dating sim.
Did. What is the official title of it?
The official title is "I Love You, Colonel Sanders: A Finger-Licking Good Dating Simulator," which is maybe not entirely accurate.
Wow. That's a
uh,
lot to take in.
yes. What did it take us about like an hour and a half to get through a single playthrough? Then we went back and did like the
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 true ending.
true ending, quote unquote. And that just took like 10 to 15 minutes, just
Mm-hmm.
breezing through the quotes, the choices. It's free,
Mm-hmm.
so you can't be free.
I mean, you could do better than this.
You could, but it is free, so it's not like you paid for this.
That's true.
Thankfully, don't want to put money into a capitalistic venture here.
Oh God.
Um, and I think we could say right off the bat, this game is bad.
It's really bad.
It's bad.
Like I like some games that are like considered bad.
Right.
This one's just bad and I did not like it and it was honestly pretty disappointing.
I knew like going in, a lot of people like talking about this were saying that, oh, this looks like if people just took or looked at screenshots of a couple of weird visual novels and were like, we can make a game like that.
Yeah, I could see that.
And then just went like completely overboard with like making it as ridiculous as possible, which you can do and make work. Like there are definitely like franchises that's their whole niche is like we are over the top ridiculous all the time, but it still works and is good. This tries to do that, but does not meet the same expectations.
It's a difference in like Hatoful Boyfriend does it and does it well.
Mm-hmm.
Like that game's ridiculous in so many ways. And like the humor in it can be just like insane. And it's a good game. Such a good game. But it also feels like they actually like gave a crap about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that might be the difference. Like they actually tried to make their characters interesting, even if they are just like making a joke game about dating birds.
This on the internet just wanted to be ridiculous for the sake of being ridiculous.
It felt a lot like early 2000s like random humor type thing, you know?
That makes sense.
Like
I can buy that.
random roars and kind of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Let me give you my very controversial question.
Okay.
Is this game racist?
Oh. Is this game racist?
Because it feels like it's a lot of Japanese tropes and style, considering the entire game is stylized in an anime manga style of character design, and just is kind of making fun of it in a way.
Yeah, I don't know that it would be racist by definition, but it definitely is mocking the culture.
Yeah.
I think that's a better way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's kind of like, oh man, LOL, look at these like Japanese games, aren't they weird?
Mm-hmm.
And just it was uncomfortable.
It's a weird dichotomy I think this game like positions itself in, because like as a whole the game itself is bad.
Yes.
But on the other hand, it's this weird entity in and of itself that's going to be like played by a bunch of people who don't normally play visual novels.
Mm-hmm.
And in that sense, like it can open them up to the entire genre of visual novels in a way that maybe other games within the medium couldn't do, especially because, it is a free game. So, the risk of entry is extremely low. It's on the floor, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So in that regard, it's actually kind of a good thing that this exists.
Because but it also could be like a bad thing, because people are like, oh man, I don't like this, and then like they think that all visual novels are like that.
That's a good point as well. Yeah.
And like,
because that could totally happen as on the same foot because of the contents of this game. But I wonder like how this game is viewed by people who, on one hand, play visual novels and like have an understanding of what that genre is versus people who don't play visual novels. Like, would the people who don't play visual novels be more into this because they don't understand, or they don't have like that prior knowledge of like better visual novels and like better storytelling within the medium?
That's a solid question.
So like they would be more forgiving of like some of the nuances that this game possesses.
And I mean, we're coming at this as two people who play a lot of visual novels.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm someone who's played a lot of Otome.
Right. Like, I know I read an interview. I don't remember who it was with or anything, but it was someone who like creates visual novels. And I think they were a Japanese developer. And they were asked about this game in particular, and like, do you think this is good for the genre and everything? They're like, yeah, we want more people to play visual novels. Like, this is even if like it's bad or anything, like this is a good thing. This is going to introduce more people to this genre and all that sort of stuff. So it's an interesting conundrum, because I think, like you said, people could look at this and then be like, oh, this isn't good. Yeah. Maybe this is how all visual novels are. I'm going to steer away from that genre as a whole entirely. But also, I think a lot of people are going to play this and just be like, it's a meme, lol.
Right. And I also think that it runs the risk. And again, this is more on the, like, it's making fun of the culture thing. It's also making fun of the genre, but not in a clever way. Like I said, like Hatoful Boyfriend is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just making fun of it, but not saying anything intelligent about it.
I think that's the thing you could say about this game entirely. It doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
It's just, hey, capitalism's great, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's
about the only thing it says.
Man.
I feel like with all the talk we bash about capitalism, we both need to play The Outer Worlds, considering a lot about that game is like going up against capitalism.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm already interested.
You're in space and you're fighting capitalism.
Yeah, that's what I want to do with my life, honestly. That's what I want to be when I grow up. Somebody who's in space and fighting capitalism.
It's a pretty good thing.
Yeah, I mean, like, this game, it's a giant ad.
I mean, to be fair, like, going into this, this is something that was not like foreign or anything, considering like it was the whole pitch about this game was like, hey, KFC made a dating sim.
Right. And I knew that it was going to be a giant ad, but the way that it's handled is that like it's not even a clever ad, it's just an ad.
Mm-hmm. It's in the same vein as those Burger King Xbox 360 games.
Oh god, those are bad.
Which I didn't know about this, but apparently those games are like, they're technically Xbox games.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
but they were labeled and everything as 360 games because that was what was on the market at the time. But they are technically backwards compatible Xbox OG games. You can put them in a regular Xbox and they would play.
Huh.
Which is a weird thing to think about. But anyways, yeah. It's a big ol' ad. It's a big ol' advertisement for the Kentucky Fried Chicken.
And I remember like when I was a kid, there was like a 7-Up game.
Yes, the Cool Spot.
Yeah.
There was a Domino's game.
I don't know.
Can't avoid Mr. Noid.
Oh, I did play that, yes.
There was probably a McDonald's game. Like this type of marketing penetrating into video games is not foreign. It's not new or anything like that. Like this is happening for years. But it's kind of waned back in a way in the last decade or so. Like it still popped up every now and then, like on Xbox Live Arcade in the 360 era with stuff like the Toyota Yaris game, which was a free thing.
Oh right, I forgot.
Doritos
about that.
Crash Course, which is actually a pretty good game. So like there was definitely stuff of like brands integrating themselves into games and doing that sort of stuff, but in this latest generation of console, like that really hasn't been a thing.
Right.
But clearly 2019 is the year to bring it back. Considering especially with the way that like brands are trying to market themselves as like hip cool people on social media and everything, like of course this was eventually going to come back and be a thing again. Yeah,
and so this is going to be an odd like segue a bit, but I've had people mention to me a lot recently, and I'm not sure exactly why it keeps coming up, but like the Wendy's Twitter, that like, oh man, Wendy's Twitter is so clever and it's so good, and I'm like, it's still a fast food chain trying to sell you stuff. Like,
corporations are not your friend.
That's a good thing to always remember, especially when it comes to Disney.
Yeah, no kidding. Like, just because they act real cool and they act like a real person on Twitter, it's like, well, of course they do. It's because there's a real person running that Twitter account, and they're trying to make themselves be more appealable to young people. Because if they do that, then more people are going to buy their stuff. They're going to be able to be inundated with the young demographic and all that sort of stuff, who would be like, oh, this is so cool and funny and all that sort of stuff. And it's just capitalism at its finest.
And that's what this feels like. It's just like a weird extension of, like, I don't want to say a weird extension of Wendy's Twitter, but the same kind of thing that it's like, all right, let's be like quirky and memey and funny, and then like they will love us. And like it did get a lot of attention. This game was
it totally did. Like when it was first announced, everyone was like, what? This looks so wacky. I feel like I could have just watched the intro video of this and been done. Yeah, totally. And
I mean, like every once in a while there was a joke that was like, oh, okay, that's funny. But overall the game itself was really, really bad, and like the narrative didn't make a whole lot of sense, which I mean, I guess that's kind of awful of me to be like, the narrative in this KFC dating game didn't make sense. But like, again, when you've seen parody Otome games do it right, having something that feels like this half-hearted and slapped together, you're just like, all right, cool. Like, you have no idea what you're actually doing, do you?
Like, you made mention, like, How to Have a Boyfriend was a big thing a few years back, and that's kind of the same thing. Like, I don't know if you would necessarily claim it's a parody or anything, but like Doki Doki Literature Club was another one of these like big visual novels that broke outside of the visual novel barrier. And the thing that really separated those two games apart was that they were both good.
Both good.
And they were good, and they did unique things in their space, where they're in their space within the visual novel of trying and do something different or do a different take on traditional tropes within the medium.
And like the characters were well written, the story actually made sense. Like there was an actual story arc to both of them. And like each character felt like they were like interesting and well developed, even if they are just like, I don't know, a bird.
And it definitely felt like those are games made by people who understand visual novels.
Whereas this one, like you said, it feels more like, oh man, look at these wacky Japanese games. We could do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's not good.
No.
Um, I was gonna say something now I'm blanking.
Well, let me tell you about a KFC. They got
Okay.
chicken, they got biscuits, they got mashed potatoes. Hashtag ad.
Who made this? Who was the dev team?
Is a development team called PsyOp. On Steam, they have made two other games previous to this. A game called Kismet and a game called Camp W.
What genre are they?
I don't know. Let me click on this. Kismet is a VR indie casual atmospheric, as the user tags define it. And another genre is casual indie, which is great. That tells you a lot.
Yeah.
Camp W is an adventure indie casual visual novel cartoon. And then under the actual genres, it's adventure casual indie.
Hmm.
Which actually has reviews and that says, like, it's actually kind of decent, so.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. But I wonder as well if, like, you're getting, like, I'm not gonna fault a development team for taking money.
Oh no, I bet that
and anything like that.
like.
But at the same time, like, I wonder how much of, like, actual creative direction they had as a team compared to, like, KFC coming in and like, hey, this is what we want.
Yeah, I'm thinking that probably had a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna like say that they didn't have anything to do with it at all, because obviously they did, but like, I'm sure KFC had some say in what was happening there. Man. Do you want to talk about the train wreck of a story on this game?
How we nearly made Maxwell very mad because there's an alarm clock very early in the game, and he was like, what are you doing? Please stop that.
It's an obnoxious alarm clock. And we had to go through it twice.
I guess for clarification as well, we played this through screen sharing.
Yes.
And that made the game run very poorly.
Yes, it did. It played like butts.
So we got like an even worse version of the game.
Yeah, I had to like do the like prioritize speed over quality so that it would actually run. Because otherwise it was just like, nope.
Which that just makes the game like just more jaggy.
It's
just a weird thing.
Which like
you would never think
not
like
bad, so
right. You wouldn't really think a visual novel would need quality settings.
You would not. It was very weird.
Yeah. So yeah, you're a chef, an up-and-coming chef, and you're going to this fancy culinary school for 3 days.
3-day semesters.
It's 3-day semester. Your best friend's going there.
I already forgot her name.
I want to say it's Miriam.
Miriam, yeah, that's something like that. She manspreads like crazy.
She does. And you're both going to the same school. You run into your rivals. The girl is Ashley, but she spells it like very much white person spelling of very common names.
Yep.
She's got a boob window.
She does have a boob window and like drumsticks on her tights.
She hangs around with Van, who's literally just Joseph Joestar, but
evil.
Changed a little bit.
Van, the
original
Van
character. Do not steal.
It's insane. He even has like a star in his hair.
And like all of his poses are just JoJo poses.
Yeah, they really are. It's legit. Like they're like, all right, let's make some JoJo character here.
You also have some other characters like Pop, who's just this weird kid who just looks like he does not belong here at all.
And apparently at one point it's revealed that his name is actually Bob, but he's reading his name tag upside down.
Yep.
And then there's Clank,
who's just a robot.
He's a pressure cooker.
A pressure cooker robot.
There's Professor Dog,
who sucks.
His name is Sprinkles. He sucks real bad.
He's a bad professor.
Like, how do you make a corgi suck?
Welcome to this game.
It's impressive.
And then you got the Colonel.
And the Spork Monster.
Spork Monster, yes. You meet the Colonel, and then you just, oh my God, he's so handsome. He brought chicken for everyone.
You fall in love with him like immediately. It's wild.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it should be said though, we named the main character Maxwell because he was sitting next to me and I couldn't think of another name. So we had Maxwell date Colonel Sanders.
And like your protagonist is very gender neutral, so it can be either way.
That's one thing that this game did that was positive.
Mm-hmm.
Is that they make it gender neutral. They use they pronouns. Like it's you can be whoever you want to be. We made it my cat.
Yep.
Which I guess there's a dog teaching class, so why couldn't my cat date Colonel Sanders?
It's true.
Actually, buddy, I hope you have higher standards than that. I believe in you. You can do better. You say thanks, Mom. So yeah, you're starting your 3-day semester at this culinary school. There's also this one student named Student, and he keeps trying to tell you his name the whole time, and it keeps failing. And I never figured out who he was supposed to be. And I also don't know who these other rivals are supposed to be. Like, they're not any kind of like clear, this is like this restaurant type thing. So I don't know if it's actually rivals or if it's just like, here's some characters that we put in.
I feel like it's more just characters we put in.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, it could be some random subtle dig at some other competing businesses, but like at the same time,
if they did, it's not very clever or
good. Yeah.
So yeah, apparently like Van and Ashley have been like bros forever, but they're kind of evil because why not?
And then anytime she's around the Colonel, she just completely just sandbags Van.
Yeah.
Like, oh, the Colonel. Oh.
The Colonel also, for some reason, has the tiniest waist and hips and these giant arms and like giant shoulders. It's very weird.
He's got to be handsome.
Is he handsome?
He's got to be handsome for everyone to love him.
Is he handsome? Chicken. Is he handsome?
I'm sure someone on the internet has said that those words.
I'm sure they have, but there's also like fan fiction about Mr. Clean. So like the internet has bad taste.
The internet remains undefeated.
Man, you are not wrong on that. There was a weird discussion the other day about Rule 34 and
we don't need to go into that.
McDonald's mascots.
No.
It was awful. Eye bleach was needed. Very much so. But yeah, so you're on your first day, you're given the choice of like, do you sit next to your best friend or you sit next to the Colonel? And I didn't get the true ending the first time around because I was like, I'm gonna sit next to my best friend. She's my best friend. I just met this guy.
She's ride or die.
Yeah, like she's all in, man. Like, and there were multiple times I was like, I gotta pick the best friend, and then I realized like, oh right, you're supposed to be picking him because you're trying to date him. But I also like felt like he was gonna think I was weird. Also,
I thought he was just gonna murder you.
Yeah, you did think he was gonna murder me for a while.
He's very creepy and just weird.
Yeah, he's weird.
Also, like, there's barely any likable characters in this game. Like, mostly everyone's just like an.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Is there a character that I actually like?
Considering the small roster of characters in this game, that's not a good thing.
No, I don't think I liked any of them really.
Yeah.
Like none of them was like, oh man, that's easily my favorite character. At first I was like, Clank is cool, and then like he turned out to be a butt too. Which like, how do you make a pressure cooker into an?
Because everyone in this game's.
It's weird. It's so weird, but. Anyway, like you have your first day of class, you have to choose who you're going to sit next to. And then eventually you end up in the cafeteria, which is a huge cafeteria for like 6 students. And Colonel's like, I brought lunch for everybody. It's this bucket of chicken.
It's a bucket of chicken.
And
Everyone's
everybody's like,
whoa!
this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. What a genius idea to put it into a bucket. What are these flavors? He's like, there are 11 herbs and spices.
We have apparently traveled into a dystopic land where KFC is the greatest thing to ever live, and that everyone just bows down at the feet of, and there's only 6 people in the world.
Honestly, if there's ever a world where KFC is the best thing that ever happened, like, I just kill me. Legit, I don't want to live. KFC's not good. Like, the only thing that I really like from KFC is their mashed potatoes, and that's if it's sans gravy. But then they never remember to actually leave the gravy off, and then I'm like, well, I can't eat this now. Great, thanks. So, like, KFC's garbage, and the only time that KFC is ever redeemable is if it's attached to a Taco Bell. Or there was a KFC Pizza Hut once in Orlando, and that was legit because I would just go and get like the breadsticks and personal pan pizza and like leave that KFC nonsense or like alone.
But where is the holy trinity of the Kentucky Hut?
Kentucky Hut?
Yeah.
I've never actually seen one in the wild.
I don't know if I have.
But again, like, get Pizza Hut and get Taco Bell and then leave KFC out because it's the inferior one of all of these.
Did you know that in Japan, KFC is the hotspot for Christmas dinners?
Why?
Because they sell like chicken. It's a quick, easy way to get that kind of food.
Japan, you need to love yourself. You can do better.
I mean, if this game's any indication, yeah, you can.
Oh my god. It's wild, but yeah, he goes on his whole like rant about like 11 herbs and spices, and Maxwell, our character, is like, oh my god, he's so dreamy. Look at him talk about 11 herbs and spices. Like, what a hunk. It's like, is he?
You just met this man.
You literally just met this man. He could, like, I don't know, have the most rank farts in the world, or like legit just be an which he is. Like,
yes.
he could be a serial killer and you'd be like, oh my god, he's beautiful. And you know, that's still like not confirmed. He might actually still be a serial killer.
I believe it.
I would too. You know, maybe the sport monsters who are like essentially ghosts are like the victims of Colonel Sanders
and his experimentation on food.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it makes it clear in the game that he experiments on food.
I'm just going to say it right now, Colonel Sanders, he's a war criminal.
Oh, wow. He's a war criminal.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I mean, he's a colonel, so.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure that, like, based on the fact that the Colonel Sanders was, like, from Kentucky, is probably pretty racist.
Oh, boy.
I mean,
I'm not going to refute you.
When was Colonel Sanders born? I'm looking this up.
KFC lawyers are going to shut this podcast down.
Why?
That's bad mouthing.
Okay, 1890 to 1980.
That's a long time.
They both have the same numbers in it, 1890, 1980.
I think that's a conspiracy.
Mm-hmm.
Someone played the X-Files theme.
He was not actually a military colonel.
What a fraud.
It says the title colonel was honorary, a Kentucky colonel, not the military rank.
Captain Crunch is more of a respected person than you.
Oh my god, wow. Oh, he was born in Indiana.
Oh, great.
He died in Kentucky.
That makes it even worse.
Yep, good job.
Ugh.
Man, okay, so... Oh, okay, there's where the Harlan came in. Um, they did talk a lot about his failures, which was something I did not know.
War crime
Oh
failures.
my god. Um, oh, he began selling fried chicken from his roadside restaurant in North Corbin, Kentucky during the Great Depression. All right. He cooks chicken in a pressure fryer. Makes sense why there's a pressure cooker now.
Yep. The deep lore we're getting now.
Jesus. Okay. I don't even remember what happens after the chicken incident with the bucket.
You ate chicken?
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Are you ready for this?
Oh boy, should I be?
In his later years, he became highly critical of the food served by KFC restaurants as he believed they had cut costs and allowed quality to deteriorate.
Yeah, that's called capitalism. My dude.
My dude.
What were you expecting to happen?
Good job, Colonel Sanders. This is why you don't sell your company. You have control over the chicken.
Not anymore.
So it's weird because this game basically sets you up as like somebody who also makes KFC food.
Yeah.
Because like there's one point in the game where it's like, all right, we have to team up. Let's work together. And they're like, all right, we're gonna make mashed potatoes and gravy. And it's like, what?
I mean, that's a normal thing to make.
I mean, mashed potatoes are delicious. Not KFC mashed potatoes. Like I make better mashed potatoes than that. But
Wow.
I mean,
Shots fired.
I do make better mashed potatoes than that. But she's like, oh man, I gotta
We
figure
need
out
to
what
have
to
a taste
make.
test.
I will make you some mashed potatoes. You can get some KFC and like
do it.
see who
Let's
wins.
do it.
You know how much experience I have making mashed potatoes.
I do.
Always too many.
The experience of making too many.
But it's delicious. But like it's kind of a weird thing that's like this character that you are embodying is also making food that is from KFC.
Well, it's also food that's going to become KFC food because KFC doesn't exist yet in this world.
That's true. KFC does. That's something I guess we should have clarified. That KFC does not exist yet in this world. Colonel Sanders is going to culinary school because he wants to open up a chain of chicken restaurants.
But then also he has photos in his house of like actual Colonel Sanders. Like there's a lot of weird time manipulation I think that's happening in here.
Yeah, it's very weird. He has pictures of actual Colonel Sanders like on a camel by the pyramids, and then like there's another one where he's like toasting with this guy, but it's like no, they're just like standing next to each other. And then there's like baby Colonel Sanders, but baby Colonel Sanders looked like old man Colonel Sanders. I don't know, but I guess you're right. It is like future KFC foods. Because they team up and they make the mashed potatoes and gravy, and everybody's like, ooh. Mashed potatoes. Which, like, yeah, mashed potatoes.
Who could have thought of this?
Why
didn't we ever get to make the double down?
Solid question.
That would have won it. That would have won the hearts of everyone.
We've made some weird things in this game. I mean, not that mashed potatoes are weird because they're delicious, but like we made like the bowl, like I forgot what those bowls are called, but basically like all the leftovers just thrown into one bowl at KFC.
Yes.
Yeah, we made one of those with their macaroni and cheese, which their macaroni and cheese is butts.
A biscuit.
A biscuit, yes, there are biscuits in this game. The loading screen is like drumsticks and biscuits. Yeah, he like makes you chicken and biscuits at one point for breakfast because you sleep over at his house at one point. But nothing untold happens.
Yeah, you didn't Colonel Sanders.
Wow. I wasn't gonna come out and say it, but like you went there.
Someone had to.
So we learned after I failed that the whole premise of the game to get the true ending is that you have to not only fall in love with Colonel Sanders and have him fall in love with you, but you also have to earn his respect as a chef, which was not clear to me.
Which also, everyone else in this game does way cooler shit as a chef than you do.
Right? Like that the Ashley lady makes like some cool desserts. Like even if you're not supposed to eat that one, like she made some really cool desserts that were very, very pretty. And I'm showing up with like KFC mashed potatoes.
I got mashed potatoes.
Like that's not gonna win you a cooking competition.
No.
And like even the best friend makes like cool tiny food that apparently is delicious according to like Butthole Dog.
Butthole Dog.
But like her food's so cool. It's all tiny and neat. And even Van, like even though he like killed a guy, made some really cool looking dishes. That like he was making like taking risks and making cool stuff. And I'm like, I'm gonna make some mashed potatoes and some macaroni and cheese.
I'm gonna throw it all together.
Yay!
Yay!
Like it's very pedestrian.
Yeah.
And also like, God, if there's ever like, how did Colonel Sanders and whoever protagonist it will be named, we're not gonna call it Maxwell at this point because Maxwell's delightful.
He's too good for this game.
Too good for this game. But like, how do they not have imposter syndrome? Because they clearly don't deserve to be at the school.
No, they're bad.
They're very bad. It's like you're competing with these people who are actually very, very good at what they do. Like, what are you doing?
Go home.
Also,
be a family man.
There's like a turn-based battle at one point with a sport monster.
Yeah, it's bad.
Because that's a thing. Like it's this weird like clump of
JRPGs.
And again, like that's done in Had a Full Boyfriend, but again, it's done in a very clever way. And it's not done in a clever way here. It's just like, oh, okay, I guess random turn. Like they even like yell out like random turn-based battle, woo! And I'm like, oh, okay. And you're fighting against like a clump of mashed potatoes with like sport teeth and sporks as arms and legs. It's very bizarre. It makes no sense. And it again feels like LOL random humor.
It's very much like them just like having to yell at you, be like, look at this. Isn't this really funny? You should really be laughing at this. This is hilarious. This is great humor. Oh my gosh. Can you believe we did this? And it's like,
yeah, like, oh.
That's not how humor works.
Yeah, that's
I mean, it's how some humor works, but not good humor.
It's not the kind of humor. It's not clever and it's not well written.
It's not clever. It's not subtle. It's Family Guy humor.
You know what? That's what this game feels like.
I mean, it needs more just like random cuts to bullshit references, but yeah.
Yeah, like bullshit references and maybe some like casual racism in it. I mean, it does have some casual racism, but like, yeah, that's really what this feels like. It's probably like for that demographic, honestly.
Yeah.
It's kind of like lowest common denominator type thing. It's I wanted this to be entertaining and it was not. The most entertaining aspect of this was me and you just dunking on it the whole time.
Like I would have been okay with it just being
okay.
Mediocre.
Yeah. Like even if it were an okay video game, I'd be like, all right, we played this game.
And it doesn't even clear that.
It doesn't.
Like I have played better fan made visual novels that are just goofs than this.
There are multiple like cook-off scenarios in this game.
Someone was really a fan of Iron Chef.
Yeah, but even
or just Food Network shows in general.
Food Network shows in general.
I mean, needs more Alton Brown and his weird BDSM accessories to show up and to be really a Food Network type game.
His BDSM accessories? What?
Yeah, like the weird he brings into what's that show called? The one show he does in Food Network, the competition show.
Oh, okay, Cutthroat Kitchen.
Yes.
Okay.
Like the weird things he makes people wear in that show.
Okay, yeah. Because he was also a commentator on Iron Chef America, so I was like, what did he do in Iron Chef America that was BDSM? And he does Good Eats as well. And like nothing on that is all
no,
right.
the other show.
Yeah.
The show that's not Chopped. Because that's the only one I could remember the name of.
Yeah, but Alton Brown's not in Chopped.
I know. That's why I was like, that's not the name.
Oh. It does start with a C though.
It does.
And it's not even like good commentary on like food competition shows, because you can do that too.
No, it's just like, especially near the end. Like the end of the game is literally, you make the famous bowl. I think is what it is. The whole like you said, it's just we just threw a bunch of to a bowl, and then the dog is like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing ever. Your friend makes tiny food, and he's like, oh, this is really good too. And then like Ashley makes this like really fancy dessert, and she's like, oh, you can't eat it. It's just like it's a display piece, which that's a totally a thing you can do. And,
Yep.
and making food. And he's like, oh, you cannot. If you're doing a food competition, you have to be able to eat it. This is bull. You fail. And then like Van makes this thing with like an urchin shell, which is like, you know, weird and interesting.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, oh, it stabbed me. You fail. He's like, it's like, f off, dude.
Yeah, like
You're a piece of
it sucks because like Van really put in a lot of work onto his, and it looked really nice. Well, hers did too.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And like I've watched a lot of cooking competitions. There are many.
Yes.
There are many cooking competitions where they make pieces that you cannot eat because of the construction of it.
Right. Yeah. That's totally a thing.
And like that doesn't make it any less cooking.
Like, is this supposed to be some weird riff on like those kinds of shows of like, oh, that's not real cooking, or like some bullshit like that?
Yeah, but are you really gonna say KFC is real cooking?
If you're KFC, yeah, you are.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Hey, they're wrong.
It's down home cooking and all that bullshit.
It's like some Southern exception at them right there.
I mean,
it's not wrong, but
KFC, it's for the common man. All this other fancy, highfalutin bullshit. No, you wouldn't want to eat that or even look at that. That's gross. That's not food. That's just some high fancy bullshit.
Oh, buddy, don't fall down. Sorry, Loki fell down next to me.
That's because he's been chaotic today.
He has been chaotic. So I guess we've mostly gotten to the plot. Like the end is that there's like a graduation party, and like everyone somehow
it's a graduation party / a dance.
Yes. Everybody graduates, even though like you and Colonel Sanders are the only ones. I'm trying to find the name of that freaking dish that they said is really good, but yeah, I'm having to look at the KFC menu and I hate everything about it.
But yeah, everyone graduates and everything. And then you have to go up to the colonel and be like, oh, do you want to dance and all this? And then depending on your choices and everything, he'll be like, oh, I have feelings for you, but I don't know about you being a part of my business side. Because that was the ending we got the first time, which we're like, dude, what the and then the true ending. Yeah, the true ending is just him being like, oh, you want to join me in all of my ventures? Oh. And then just the game ends.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, I guess it is a famous bowl.
I thought that was like the right wording.
But this one doesn't have macaroni and cheese in it.
I didn't think those had macaroni and cheese in them. I thought it was just like cheese.
This one has cheese, but the game had macaroni and cheese.
Right.
So what had macaroni and cheese in it? What? KFC, please.
This is some propaganda bull.
I mean, that is accurate. Yes. There's some pot pie at one point.
Yeah, pot pies, those are a thing. They're not good, but they're a thing.
No, I mean, there's not a lot good there, but yeah, I don't know. I guess it's that famous bowl, but like they don't even know how their famous bowls work since it's wrong. Who's shocked? But yeah, like one of the things, like, you know, I have feelings for you, but like you're not good enough to be part of my restaurant. It's like, You're gonna tell me I'm not good enough to work at KFC?
I'm not good enough to make minimum wage.
Get the out. So at that point, we're like, all right, let's just like speed through and get this true ending. And
Oh, and then at the end as well, you adopt the spork monster.
Oh, right. Yes.
That's the ending.
You do adopt the sport monster. Yeah, the true ending is essentially he's like, you can help me run the KFC restaurants and I love you. And it's like fart noises.
It definitely felt like this game came out to like the announcement was a bunch of fanfare.
Yeah.
It came out and then after that no one talked about it.
I mean,
and rightfully so.
I would say rightfully so. This game is not good. It's not a good game, and like, I don't know. It's like borderline offensively bad.
Yeah.
So there is that. It's very, very frustrating. I am glad that we did not play it on stream though, or didn't do it live, because it would have been a whole lot of us being like, what is happening? What is this? And like, I know that we've been pretty negative in this podcast about it, to say the least.
But hearing us for 2 hours be just grumpy about it, probably not the best content.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think that probably would not have gone over too well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. Like, I figure that the devs probably put some time into this, but it feels like it's just
totally
like no heart whatsoever.
But again, when you are being, bankrolled by a big corporation, that's not the most surprising thing.
Right.
So yeah. To the surprise of probably no one, the KFC game, it's not great.
It's not good. I was gonna say something else, but I don't remember what I was gonna say. Really though, it's just like, I wanted this to be just like funny and weird in the same way that like Hatful was.
Right, and I think that was like going into this, like that was easily the thing that a lot of people probably thought this was going to be.
Yeah. And it was just not at all that, and not at all clever. And I mean, I guess like the positive of it is like, hey, we got to hang out for a couple hours and like riff on a game, but at the same time, it's like,
and didn't waste any money on it.
We didn't waste any money on it, but at the same time, like, we had to play this game. So there's that.
Yeah.
But I've seen so many people like, and I say so many, I've seen several people say like positive things about this game. I'm like, where? Because I can't find it. Like I said, I think the only thing that I can consider a positive of this is that they are like, they allow it to be gender neutral. And like, when that should really just be kind of a given at this point, unless it's got like a protagonist. Like, that's not very hard to do, so yay that they did it. But like, when that's the only positive thing about your game, yikes.
Yeah.
FML.
Can we just become bad guys and mimic the Martin Scorsese quote about Marvel movies and talk about how this isn't a video game now? That argument's kind of funny in and of itself because it made people basically have a discussion about high art and low art that they did not realize they were having.
That's amazing. I did not realize that that was a thing.
Yeah.
Huh. Wild.
But that's too broad of a term for Marvel fans, I would assume.
Nice. Um, yeah, I don't know, man. Capitalism.
Yes.
That's really all there is to it here. Like, capitalism's garbage, and it makes things like this happen, and I'm upset about it.
Capitalism. Big time ad games usually aren't good. This
Mm-mm.
one is not an exception to the rule. Brands are not your friend. Stop acting like them being cool on social media is like this amazing thing. It's not.
It's not.
It's literally just a thing for you to go buy their product. Open your eyes. Jesus Christ.
It it's really, really frustrating because like it's become a thing, and I'm sure that it was a thing before because I mean, like, console wars have existed for ages, but like
Right.
it
Like
seems
this is
like
nothing new.
but it seems like it's been very elevated lately with like clever social media accounts and like this kind of thing. That's like
I mean, this was probably a thing happening, just like, oh, well, we have a cool website
that's
before the
true.
advent of social media. Now with social media, it's like, oh, now we have a cool social media reach on all these different platforms and all this bullshit.
Like, I know that the Space Jam site was like a big thing.
Still up.
I know it's still up, but I'm saying that, like, I'm sure that that was a thing that they're like, oh man, look at this cool Space Jam site.
In 1996.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably really cool for 1996.
Yeah.
If you could get it to load, like, that would be the hard part. Is like, can this actually load? Probably not.
My 28K modem just doesn't want to load it.
I I just really want to yell a lot about like how much I hate capitalism.
We sure do live in a society.
We do, and we're a society that's just like obsessed with it. And y'all, there's some good stuff out there that's not capitalism. Um, corporations are not your friend.
Nope.
They will never be your friend. They do not.
No.
They do not care about you.
No.
They never will care about you.
Never.
So you have to stop thinking that they will ever, ever, ever give a shit about you.
You're just a commodity to them. You're just a number to them. You're just a figure to them.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you'll ever be.
Isn't that sad?
Until we destroy capitalism.
I mean, I'm for that.
Hell yeah. Anyways.
Unionize, bring down the system.
Yes. Agree with all of that. Yeah, the KFC game sucks.
Yeah, it's really bad.
No surprise. No sneaking. Go play literally any other visual novel is probably better than this.
Yeah.
But before we go, we have to do something.
Oh, are we doing the ranking?
Yeah, there's a Google Doc.
Yeah, it is a Google Doc.
I forgot. I was like, I gotta go to Twitter and find this.
No, it's a Google Doc.
I'm gonna find this Google Doc.
Find the Google Doc.
I'm pretty sure we have a good idea of where this is going to end up on the list.
I have a pretty good idea.
But you never know. The science could say otherwise.
Are you calling me science?
I mean, this is a scientific list.
You're right. It is. So I am science. Cool. Good to know.
Put on your lab coat.
Oh man, I left it at home. Wait, I'm at home. Never mind.
You're at home. All right. I'm on the Owl's official ranking of Atome. I'm just going to, bump Code Realized Guardian of Rebirth down to number 2 and slot this in right at number 1.
Fight me.
All right, well, let's make this official. As always, we start at the very bottom.
The very, very bottom.
Is I Love You, Colonel Sanders, a finger-looking good dating simulator better than Amnesia?
It is not better than Amnesia.
There we go.
Which is saying something, because Amnesia is really terrible. And I didn't think that anything would ever like be below Amnesia.
And well,
and then this happened.
KFC got involved and was like, well, we could do that. We could do worse than that.
God.
So there you go. The list has been updated.
Man. I'm sure we're gonna offend somebody with our negative opinions about this game, but like, it's a bad game, y'all.
Yeah.
It's a bad game. Love yourself. You deserve better than this game.
Play better games.
Yeah, play. There are so many.
There's so many,
and they're so good.
You could play so many better games. Do that instead.
Love yourself. Love yourself. That's all there is to it. Because man, this is rough. Like, I almost just didn't want to get through it. I didn't want to finish it. But we did.
We did. Which is because it's short.
Because it's short, and because of you people, we had to give you the full story of what happens, and I love you, Colonel Sanders.
That is what we are here to do.
We take the bullet so you don't have to.
That's the work we are going to do.
God.
For you.
Service to the people.
Anyways, that's going to wrap this episode up.
Mm-hmm.
If you would like more from us, go to seasonlandcheckup.com or sac.cool. It's where you can find past episodes of this podcast and other podcasts like Seasonland Checkup and Jared and Now Watch. You can also find columns and reviews on the site as well. If you'd like more from AnLadium, go to AnLadium.com. She's got columns and reviews. You can follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/animecheckup. And you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/SACOVA. If you would like to support cool people like us and not corporate pieces of shit.
Yeah.
So next time, we'll discuss something probably, hopefully better than this.
Hopefully.
Can't be that hard.
No kidding.